Round Pushpin Chapter 1. The Note on the Table. I was 19 when my father disappeared. I still remember the exact time. 7:42 a.m. I came downstairs expecting the usual weekend smell of parathas and chai. Instead, I found a note on the kitchen table and an empty closet upstairs. The note was barely 2 lines long. "I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore. I need to live for myself now." That was it. No real explanation. No confrontation. Not even a proper goodbye. My mother read it in silence, folded it carefully like a sacred document, then tucked it inside the folds of her shawl.
She didn't speak.
Didn't scream. She just sat down with her cup of chai, which she never even sipped, and stared at the wall for an hour straight. That was the beginning of the end for her. Round Pushpin Chapter 2. The Quiet Collapse. My mother is the kind of woman you only meet once in a lifetime. Born and raised in Pakistan, she moved to Germany with my father when she was barely 22. She learned German from cassette tapes, worked cleaning jobs, helped him start a small halal grocery store, and still managed to pack me fresh lunches every day. She was steel-wrapped in softness. But after he left, she unraveled in slow motion. At first, it was small things she'd forget to eat or leave the stove on. Then came the weight loss, the insomnia, the way she would sit on the couch late at night just clutching a cushion to her chest like it could protect her from the memories. She stopped looking in mirrors, stopped talking to her friends, stopped praying, and that terrified me most because for her, even in sickness, faith had always been unshakable. I caught her reading his note more than once, as if searching for some hidden meaning that would make it hurt less. But there was no hidden meaning. The truth was plain. He had simply decided we were disposable. Round Pushpin Chapter 3. The New Woman. It didn't take long to find out where he had gone. Turns out he had been living with a much younger German woman, someone he met at the bank where he used to pay bills for our store. He had been planning this escape for over a year, secretly transferring money into another account, forging my mother's signature on documents, and, the worst part, selling the grocery store without her consent. We found out through a mutual family friend. And when we saw their wedding photos on Facebook just 6 months later, something inside my mother just snapped. She didn't break down, not visibly. She just went still. And that's when I made a decision. I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to argue with fate. I was going to study the law. Round Pushpin Chapter 4. The Long Game. I was in the 2nd year of university when he left. I changed my major to law the same semester. People thought I was overreacting. They said time would heal, that we should move on, that revenge wasn't worth it. But they hadn't watched their mother wither into a ghost of herself. They hadn't watched a woman who once stood tall with pride now shrink when someone said his name. So I stayed quiet. But I studied family law, inheritance, divorce settlements, fraud, asset recovery, pension rights. Everything that applied to our situation. At the same time, I started gathering evidence. Emails, bank transfers, property records, store sale contracts, social media posts, anything that could legally tie him to financial and emotional abandonment. And the best part? He had never finalized the divorce. That one mistake would cost him everything. Round Pushpin Chapter 5. My mother, my client. 3 years later, I sat my mother down at the kitchen table, the same one where we had first found his note. I placed a file in front of her. Dozens of pages. Annotated. Chronological. Legal. "We're going to court," I told her. "You're not going to suffer for the rest of your life just because he decided to start a new one." She was hesitant at first. She didn't want public shame.
She didn't want gossip.
She still clung to some shred of pride for his sake. But when I explained the laws, the rights she didn't even know she had, and how carefully I had built the case, she just looked at me and nodded. "Okay, Beta," she said quietly. "Let's finish what he started." Round Pushpin Chapter 6. The Courtroom. He showed up to court in a suit that didn't fit. He looked older, somehow smaller. His new wife was there too, tight-lipped and irritated. When the judge began reading the charges, emotional neglect, fraud, forgery, unlawful asset transfer, I watched his confidence drain like water down a sink. My mother didn't say a word during the first hearing.
She didn't need to.
The document spoke for her. I had included witness statements, financial timelines, and even handwriting analysis to prove he had forged her signature. By the third hearing, his wife stopped showing up. By the final one, he looked like he hadn't slept in weeks. Round Pushpin Chapter 7, the verdict. The judgment came down hard. He was ordered to pay 60% of his monthly pension directly to my mother. He owed €85,000 in unpaid compensation for her work in the family business. The court issued a criminal record for forgery, no prison, but permanent damage to his reputation. All his accounts were frozen during the proceedings. His social standing in the local Pakistani community collapsed. Within weeks, his new wife filed for divorce. Apparently, she didn't appreciate being married to a disgraced fraud with no income and a growing pile of legal fees. Karma has a funny way of aligning itself when you do the work. Round Pushpin Chapter 8. The Aftermath. I never spoke to him again. He called once, from a blocked number. I didn't answer. My mother never did either. Last I heard, he was living alone in a subsidized housing unit in a town an hour away. He walks with a cane.
No job.
No wife. No dignity. He applied for government assistance, but was denied due to his criminal history. No one in the community helps him anymore, not after word got around about what he did to us. And my mother? She got better. She still doesn't laugh like she used to, but she sleeps through the night now. She prays again. She has a little garden she tends to on the balcony, and sometimes she even watches Pakistani dramas on Netflix, which she used to hate. Every month, when the pension lands in her account, she smiles without saying anything. But I can see it in her eyes. She feels seen. She feels valued. Round Pushpin Chapter 9. Real revenge isn't loud. I didn't burn his car. I didn't show up at his house yelling. I didn't need to. Revenge, real revenge, doesn't need to scream. Sometimes it just looks like a man sitting alone in a dark kitchen, wondering why no one calls him on his birthday. Sometimes it's a monthly deposit reminder that his past is paying for someone else's present. Sometimes it's a son who never calls back. Round Pushpin Final Thoughts. If you've made it this far, maybe you understand what I mean. I don't hate my father. I don't even think about him much anymore. But I'll never forget what he did to my mother. The way she folded that note. The way she held herself together with threadbare dignity. The way she never once fought for herself. So I fought for her. Because love, when it's real, remembers every tear. And sometimes, love